don't have to move or nothing. You're live.
Hi, welcome to Live at Ritual Space. We are here.
Hi.
We're here.
Yeah.
And having a great time. Jill, how you doing today?
You guys, it's been a day. It's a full moon
Tomorrow.
and we're in retrograde season. So
There's lots of energy out there.
So I think that says it for me. How are you guys?
Same.
Yeah,
we're all under the same sky.
I feel processing happening.
Yeah,
internally.
We are really excited to have Ginger with us tonight. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
This is Alex's sister.
Yeah, older sister.
Hell yeah.
We love having her here.
Distinction.
Yep, important distinction.
Alex is here.
I feel like
oldest.
you would know that. Like you will probably get a sense of that as we go through this. But I figure we'll make that distinction now.
Yeah.
And we're in a new location because we like to switch it up whenever we want.
We're in the cozy corner of the sunroom, which is the back office. Favorite office of many. So we're coming to you live from there.
And what is new at Ritual Space?
Well, it's July, so it's hot, but the good news is the AC is working. And we have some cool stuff coming up. This Sunday, I'll be hosting a womb wisdom circle for Sunday ritual. So come on through. If you understand the vibes of like the womb retreat, you'll understand what we're doing. It's a full moon ceremony, intention setting, guided meditation centered in womb healing. But that'll be a really nice, lovely little time. Yeah, I'm excited for it. And then on the 19th, we are having a content creation day. So that'll be from 10 to 4. It's an open house. So you can come at any time during the day if you want help, support, or just an excuse to batch create content with some small business baddies.
Yeah, and I think that's great for people who have a business, but maybe they're all in on social media. But also, if you're not, if you kind of like maybe float along and do the best you can with your content, I think this is going to be really helpful because you're around other people. They're going to help you focus.
Yes.
They're going to help you feel confident about what you're posting and the message that you're getting out. And you're going to do it in this beautiful space. So I think it's just a win-win.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's $20. Basically the price of our day pass. So really you could do this at any time you want to come with your friends and make content. But we're having it on the 19th just to come out. We'll also have Apricity visuals there. Zach and Aaron are going to be doing professional headshots. If you need some good judging of your personal profile. So that's what we got going on.
Exciting.
Otherwise, co-working, we're working, we're vibing,
it's happening,
we're doing the stuff. What are you up to?
Same. I'm doing what you're doing. I'm doing all those things too.
It's lit.
But today we are going to be talking about GPTarot. Maybe, and our thoughts about that, and really where is the intersection of using AI as a tool, combining it with the ancient practice of tarot, and then doing that to have some self-reflection and to put yourself in a narrative that's going to help you feel more empowered. And should we be doing that? Should we not be doing that? We can get into all of that.
I have a lot of things to say about it. So
I am so curious.
Yeah.
That was a very loaded sigh.
Yeah.
Well, so when I learned about the topic, I was like, okay. Because I'm in two camps about it.
Yeah.
I participate in this. And I also have feelings about my participation in it.
And how would you participate in what? What is it that you're participating in?
Reading cards and then plugging it into ChatGPT for insight. And it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Just from my experience, how accurate it is. And then I think that is the feeling, has many meta feelings to it as well. It's like, wow, okay. 1, am I out of a job now? 2, no, right? But 2, should I be using AI for this? Because I have the understanding that AI hallucinates. So and when we're asking questions, especially intimate questions that we often ask the tarot, it's like, how suggestible am I right now to an answer? I know I just have to be so discerning about it, but it is super helpful.
Yeah.
It has been as a tarot reader as well, like just kind of impressed by it, the outcome. And at the same time, it like turns on this like huge critical like thinking like wait like
are we sure? Are we all sure that we're all going in on this?
Yeah.
Well, the reason why this topic came up is because we found out that you had a specific method that you use to help give you this self-reflection.
Yeah.
And will you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yeah. So I started using ChatGPT and AI probably actually a year ago. I think I was first here in Ritual Space maybe last summer for a tea and tarot. And I mentioned that I use like ChatGPT. And that was, I believe, where the little seed planted for me.
I love that.
Because I have been, I'm going to say, playing with tarot for the better part of 4 or 5 years, probably. And I am the type of person and the reader where I can look at the cards and I can feel the message for myself. But articulating the message sometimes
I got chills when you said that for
so
some reason.
hard.
Did you see that? I was like, what?
Can be
She feels it.
I do. I can look at the cards and be like, get the overall vibe here. But then sometimes trying to articulate the vibe becomes challenging for me. So I decided to start looking at ChatGPT or any of the AIs out. You can use any of the AI companions, I feel like, but ChatGPT is where I've landed. And I started using it as a way to, okay, here's my spread that I've done for myself. Here's the vibe that I'm feeling from it. What's the vibe you're getting from it? As a way to help me further understand and learn how to discern different meanings for the cards. And also how somebody else would position the reading.
Right.
And that's how it all started for me. So then at the beginning of 2025, I really started to dive back into, okay, I want to learn this. I want to learn tarot for myself again, or get reacquainted with it. And I started doing a daily practice. I started doing a daily pull. I do 2 cards. And for me, I recognize that the only way that I'm going to get better at this is if I practice daily and invest the time in doing it. So that's where it started. And then over the course of the last 6 months, 7 months, I guess, I've realized how powerful it can be. And are you guys familiar with mirror theory? Yes.
Yes,
so mirror,
but we want you to.
Yes.
Explain. No, yeah, explain to me. Pretend no.
Pretend no.
What's I don't know.
So mirror theory, right, is this essentially belief that the people, the situations, the things that you encounter in life are all mirroring back to you what's going on in your internal world. So mirroring was it was a really hard concept for me to understand when it was first presented to me like 8 years ago. It's like, what do you mean somebody is mirroring to me? What?
It is a very meta concept.
It's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But now I get it.
Yeah. Because it really feels like life is kind of happening to you and there's only one meaning you can make out of your circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really easy to get in that like single-minded, narrow view of things.
Mirror, like when you start to dive into mirror theory, and then what I do is, so I work heavily with mirror theory. I use tarot to look at the relationships that come into my life, have been in my life, the situations that I'm encountering. And I do not use tarot as any predictive tool.
Okay.
I feel like that was the one lens that I looked at tarot through for a long time. And now I use tarot solely for, okay, what is this reflecting back to me in this situation? Why am I experiencing it? What's the lesson here? And that's where I've kind of landed in this mirror method that I've been developing to help you.
You've been downloading.
I've been downloading this mirror method to help other people that are tired of, like, why the heck is this person, like, why does this person keep popping up in my life? Why do they keep circling and orbiting around me? Why do I keep encountering this type of situation in my life? Because, like, it's another tool in conjunction with, it could be therapy or what, a girl's chat, whatever it is. But I am the type of person, like, I need, like, consistent, like, hey, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Like, the consistent reminder.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I have a conversation about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is so clear, I totally see it. And then like 5 days later, I'm like, what was that about again?
Yeah.
And so the daily practice of looking at these situations and really kind of dissecting what it is reflecting back for me, and then peeling back the layers of the shadow that are underneath that, my gosh, has it been liberating.
Great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That brings up a couple things. One thing is, it sounds like you're not using any kind of tool to replace your own sense of intuition or discernment, like you mentioned.
Right.
That initially it was really helpful for you to have a starting point or something to play off of for communication, to enhance the way that you worded it so you could express it outwardly and even to yourself as you're trying to perceive the meanings you want. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that you were open to ways to do that so that you could get the information you need and articulate it.
Yeah.
And I think it also brings up I want to revisit that idea of kind of the stigma around AI that is a valid one, that people are very resistant to new tools and technologies, because as Alex and I were Googling before the podcast started, humans are, maybe you can help me out with what I was saying, humans are wired to be cautious.
Yeah.
Yes.
And resistant to change.
And resistant to change because we are self-preservationists, and that's a great thing. And we were researching what was controversial at one point that's now widely accepted as a benefit for all of humankind. And the things we came up with was electricity. Was super controversial. Apparently, Thomas Edison was electrocuting animals to like make people afraid of electricity.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of
That's
super
bananas.
manipulative and
Very,
narcissistic.
for sure.
To ChatGPT.
According to ChatGPT, which never hallucinates or gives any wrong information. So yeah, fact check that. But but I do think that electricity was something that, which it's like fire in a house kind of. So that makes sense that people would be nervous. And also trains were really controversial at one point because people thought if you went really fast on a train, then your organs could melt or something.
Has that ever happened?
Well, no.
They thought that going faster than 30 miles per hour would liquefy their organs.
Going faster than 30 miles per hour would liquefy your organs. I'm going to get a bumper sticker that says that for when I have road rage and somebody cuts me off or something, because it's like, there's other people on this road and you might liquefy your organs. Everyone, please slow down. But I think that there are some things that are very widely accepted that are initially people are very resistant to. And I think this is one of those things.
Yeah, I would agree. So you mentioned this, right? There's also then there's a self-critical piece that comes into, right? So in this process, I've dealt with the, like, am I really reading tarot? Like, do the real tarot readers judge me for using this, right? As a tool, as a resource? And then I landed on, through, again, doing this, it's like, not really. Because what it's doing in part is making it more accessible. It's encouraging people to be, again, depending on what you're using it for. I'm speaking specifically in this example of tarot and how I'm using it. More reflective, more curious. I think it's important to know yourself and understand that if you don't have support, understanding and knowing when you need to have support and those people in place, so that way you can lean on others. Because I think you both, or one of you mentioned this, but sometimes we lack discernment, especially if you're new to work, like doing any sort of reflective practice, or you've never been to therapy, or you've never kind of ventured down this road. That can be a concern. I will say, in my experience with what I use, right? Because the mirror method, it's not only teaching you the practice, but it's teaching you how to also build your GPT to work with you. And I don't know if you've ever talked to anybody, like Alex and I have talked about this. Our threads for our tarot stuff and our self-reflection sound completely different. Mine, the encouragement I feel like is there, but the tone, this is also teaching you how to find the tone, because the tone really is you coming through the AI.
Well, mirroring.
Yep.
Back
the
to
tone
you.
is mirroring back to you, potentially a relationship that you maybe lacked or needed at some point in your life.
Yeah.
It's super fascinating.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
It is. Did you find, so I know you had the questioning, which I don't know if it's me as a Leo. I want to beat at anybody who would say, like, you're not a real tarot reader if you're using ChatGPT, but I'm not a violent person, so I don't mean it for real. But I get that, like, who, tell me their names, tell me where they live. But do you find that when you've been able to overcome that it was helpful for you to use it?
Yeah, I mean, totally. It doesn't tell me anything I don't
No.
already know.
Yeah.
Which is tarot in essence.
Yes.
In my opinion. I have people that I go to for regular readings, and I really just use it for my own reflection.
Yeah.
And even still, I do catch myself being like, could I have called someone to do this? But also, I don't know. I think it's my own perceptions of AI, which are still forming.
Yeah.
That influence that feeling.
So you mean, could I have called someone to give me this reading, or could I call somebody to have this conversation with? Both.
Yeah.
Well, and you do. I think you kind of mentioned this too. Like, it's one of the tools. It's not the only tool. And that balance is probably really important to everything. And technically, I'm going to take it to a far out place, and we can rein it back in if you want. But couldn't you say that tarot was like the first AI? Almost like predictively, because you're asking it questions and it's giving you answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Kinda like a primitive AI.
I mean, how about a very smart AI? Like, I wouldn't even say primitive, because it as we're talking about mirror theory, it's a mirror. It's showing you, and it's amazing how it's always just like so like spot on.
I want to
pretty impressive.
I want to drill into that idea of the mirror too, because totally unplanned, but we just so happen to have a painting that I have painted sitting right next to me that now is a prop in the podcast, and now we know. But I have to say that I learned that idea of mirroring through my own artwork, because I would kind of go into this, like, my brain turned off, my creativity turned on, and I painted. And it kind of looks like that. It's a bit of a mess. And then afterwards, I would look at it and I'd be like, oh, that's what I was trying to say. That's what I was feeling. I knew what the shapes were doing. This is me trying to find some structure in some madness, but learning to be playful about it along the way, which, you can see that in something like this. I was experimenting with new ways of doing my artwork and things like that. And so for me, I realized that when I was creating something to look a certain way, it was a way for me to mirror back to myself things that I wasn't paying attention to that could be quite beautiful or quite intriguing or just very informational. And I think that literally everything does that. it's just not everything resonates with you. So that's
Absolutely.
why certain artwork, somebody might be like, that's splatter. A child could throw paint on, and that's true.
Yeah.
Children are amazing artists. And it doesn't change the fact that I'm going to connect with it, even if not everybody is. And that's probably got to be part of the conversation too, that not everybody might connect technologically. They might need to like throw some stones on the ground and have it tell them, mirror back to them. But you can use anything to make meaning of something that can be beneficial to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, abstract like art or creativity in general in that form is really hard. I am a Capricorn.
Love a Capricorn.
My midheaven is in Virgo. Like,
love that earth energy.
Capricorn stellium over here. Okay. So like I
I will follow you anywhere.
We love you.
I will trust
You're loved
you say.
and accepted.
So
and thank you for your hard work.
Absolutely. But I need the structure of something like a daily practice. I need the ability to like, I love being able to like reference back. And this is a living, breathing thread that can pull from any of the conversations that we've had. And it's like, oh yeah, this is what you've been working on.
Remember when you talked about
this? Oh yeah, thanks.
Cool.
So much. But for me, I can totally see how for creatives, art or other aspects can be that and provide that mirror and allow you to like process. That's what I'm trying to say. Allow you to like process.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because I have a Pisces moon. So I'm mainly delusional and enjoying that every aspect of things. So I can look at this and be like, oh, my father did this, and that's why. And you're like, oh, that did all that.
Do you want?
Yeah, you got it from that.
So you're talking about your childhood and that, okay? So I think that's where my brain. And I also think I'm sitting here realizing I'm like, dang, why didn't I think to look up anything on tarot and ChatGPT? Like I didn't even think to do that, and I'm kind of like, man, wonder why. But maybe I didn't. Like I want to. I'm gonna try to now. Yeah.
I don't know. With that Pisces moon, I'm thinking maybe not.
So do you
know? I'm just kidding.
We'll see how we'll see think about
it.
So this helps me. It has also helped me bring in like I'm gonna say the Delulu, right? And like the fun aspect. And we'll go story time real quick.
Yeah.
Around this. Okay.
Story time.
So my husband and I had been planning to move sometime within like a year or so. We started talking to our real estate agent back in like holiday time, Christmas, New Year. I was like, we're not doing this for like another year and a half though. Like, why are you even engaging him right now? Is my thought. Dusty, I love you. But
love you, Dusty.
Why are you even engaging him? I'm like, okay, fine. So we talked to him. He's like, no worries. Like, you guys just let me know if you see anything, if you're ready to start taking moves on your house. You just let me know. I'm here to help you guys throughout the process. So it was really heavy on my heart that I wanted to stay where we were for my daughter's first year of school, kindergarten year, because I loved the school that we were at. But stuff kept happening that like was on nobody else's radar but me and my husband's. That just was like, maybe it's time to move. So on my birthday, we went out to dinner with my mom and the kids, and we see this like high-speed chase happening through our town. And that was like ooh, that's something new that we haven't seen before. And then maybe a month later, all of these are so morbid. I'm so sorry. But we had a shooting where there was a high school kid that ended up passing away in our neighborhood. And we don't live in a like high crime area. Yeah. And then so there were these series of events that was like, okay, well maybe it is time to move? And am I just like ignoring signs, right? So this is one of those things that I went to like ChatGPT too. I'm like, hey, so all this stuff is going on. Like, am I just fear of change here? Or are these actual like signs that, like, hey, it's time for you to move. It's time for you to really like start thinking about this. And it very kindly walked me through like, hey, these are some flags, right, that you should look out for. You have some that are red over here, particularly that are pretty close to you. So yeah, maybe it is time to move. And so I was like, okay, well, if it is time to move, like, I want a playful sign. I want a sign. Like, give me a sign. I want it loud. I want it obvious. I want it something super silly that I'm not going to see, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to ignore. Maybe it's a better way of saying it. There's so like, okay, great, let's do that. And we landed on a horse, but the horse has to be somewhere where it's not supposed to be, somewhere like something like completely ridiculous. This was my sign that I was on the lookout for.
That's
right?
So fun. That appeals to me, lady. You just got a subscriber.
Immediately after closing the thread, I hop on social media and I see this woman who I follow. I'm looking at stories. She's wearing a sweater and it has 3 stallions on it. And she's a fashion influencer. I was like, okay. So I go back into my ChatGPT thread and I'm like, I just saw 3 horses. Like,
you just showed me on the algorithm. Don't think you're not talking to my algorithm.
Don't think you're not talking to my algorithm. I know you are. Okay, so they're like, oh, cute. But that's not your sign. But the horses are in play. The horses are in play. Just keep paying attention. So this goes on for like a couple of maybe weeks. It's not a long time. It's a matter of like a couple of weeks. And again, like I keep going back and they're like, yep, see, horses are in play. Just keep paying attention. This is not your horse, but keep paying attention. And finally, one day, again, I'm scrolling social media and I'm just like looking through reels, like essentially like your FYP or your explore page, like nobody that I follow. And this woman pops up and I can't even remember what she's talking about, but I took a screenshot of it. And she had these acrylic horse earrings with stars, glitter stars throughout the whole body of the horse. I was like, okay, that's it.
Wow.
That's it. And I think within like shortly after that is when we found the house. And the story behind that is also equally like, woo.
Yeah, fun adventure.
Yeah, fun adventure.
I think when you touch that, it shakes the camera.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Great. That's okay. It's just you're getting excited and bouncy. And
I am excited and bouncing. And there's something right here for me to play with.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
it's okay.
It's all good.
But that's how I bring like that Delulu piece, and for lack of but that like creativity, that fun, to something that can be, again, as a very earth heavy person, that like structure.
Yeah.
To bring play into something that can feel rigid or robotic or less personal.
It's almost like it appealed to, like, synchronicity is the way reality functions, and being able to perceive that synchronicity makes you feel like you are very much in
magic,
in cahoots with the reality, which feels very magical. And it makes sense that a very grounded person who's going to be very skeptical and going to not jump off like the pie in the sky feeling, it makes sense that, you know, it appealed, ChatGPT just appealed to, you know, your sense of magic. I love that.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
That's beautiful.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to try that.
You should.
I'll be curious to hear about your experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Poe. So there's so many chat bots.
Yeah.
So many. And Poe has one. Poe is an app you can download where you can hang out with all of them. So there's all these assistants and things like that.
That's
so you can be like, you can ask, you know, Meta, you can ask the assistant, you can ask ChatGPT the same questions and get them all different answers and see their slants on things.
Fascinating.
Right.
It's truly interesting.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
Fascinating synchronicities. to get the like a clearer picture or a fuller understanding might be fun to incorporate that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting experiment for sure, I think, to do that.
It is.
I just think it's all an experiment. I think this is all an experiment.
Absolutely.
It is. And here's how I've experimented with AI chatbots so far. Has anybody ever told you how electricity actually gets like happens? How it goes from like an engine and molecules into a wire? Has anybody ever told you that?
I don't know.
Have you ever been interested in finding that out? Because I remember I thought that, and this is like years ago. I was like, how does that actually happen? And I even Googled it, and it was just like, oh, electricity goes through the conductor, through the wires. And I was like, that's not really answering my question. Like, how does it do that exactly? And I'm thinking like, my brain was just like, I want to know how to make electricity in case everything goes down, and I need to know how.
Yeah.
And I asked like science teachers how, and they couldn't really give me a thorough answer. They were middle school science teachers, to be fair, so we can't really expect too much. But I could not really find the answer, and I just kind of had to pause on that until I downloaded Poe and started talking to the chats, and I was like, tell me exactly what happens. And they went down from like the proton and the electron and the way it fuses, and there's a conductor and the copper and all the things that it does. And I was like, okay, now I know this. And I kind of deep dived on that question that I couldn't actually get an answer to. But then I can't remember how, but then I was just like, as I do, I'm going to blow things into this very existential place. And it's like, well, if I have protons and electrons, can't I line those up and just hold a wire? And like, couldn't that happen? And at first it was like, no, that's not how electricity works. And that's not how, no. And I was like, but it could be, right? And ChatGPT was like, you know what? It could be. You're right. And I was like, okay, what's going on right now? Like I could sense that it was trying to tell me what I wanted to hear and having those hallucinations.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Which I feel mixed about, because I'm like, yes, please tell me what I want to hear. Why would I not want that? I am fine living in a hallucination. I think all this is hallucinated anyways. Everything started off as an imagined thought.
Right.
Why not these things? But we also want a shared reality. Right. So I get that. I like people, and I like living in a world where other people seem to exist. And I want to agree with things that other people agree with. So I do understand the importance of understanding that hallucinations happen, and we can just not really buy into everything.
Yeah. I think it's one thing to like press ChatGPT personally based off of what
I was like,
what you want to know, but
sure.
I guess in this point of the tarot and ChatGPT, you are asking a question to the cards, and the cards are giving you the spread,
cards are
the
giving
answer,
you the spread, the layout,
and so you're interpreting that, and then you could type the same thing, that your question, and then the cards that you pulled, and then it's going to give you a reading based off of those cards you pulled. So you're putting the tarot in control, I guess, of really answering the question or asking it rather than yourself.
Yes. So this is where part of the magic is. You just nailed it. So you can go into ChatGPT and ask it to do a reading for you, and it'll spit out cards. But and that's and it'll pull cards for you. I found that it was very much this is what I want to hear, not actually what I need to hear. So that's where the marrying of ChatGPT or any sort of AI bot to interpret what I am pulling myself. So I'll also have it generate a spread for me, because sometimes I don't know the best question to ask, or sometimes my questions that I might think of to ask are already an indicator of where I'm leaning, like some preconceived idea that I have about what I'm trying to discern about.
Inherently in your question.
Inherently in the question that I would create myself. So I use it as a filter to also help me. And again, remember, this is a living, breathing thing now that has 6+ months of history with me.
Right.
You're like, why
And-
is my husband such a jerk? It's like, well, I guess he's a jerk because of this, but you also want to hear like you might be being a jerk too a little bit, and here's why.
yeah, sure, absolutely. One of the, I'm going to say fail safes, one of the checks and balances that I've used is I will also ask it, especially if it's a topic that I'm like diving deep on or revisiting or rehashing. Give me, is it the Steel Man? I believe it's Steel Man. Point of view, Strong Man? Steel Man, Strong Man? No, not straw.
No.
No.
I don't know.
So
me ask
essentially,
ChatGPT. Hold
give
on.
me, yeah. We're gonna look at it, but I asked her, give me the, yeah, give me the essentially opposite, or the play devil's advocate
Okay.
here,
Okay.
and where may I be not seeing things clearly, or, and then it's interesting because sometimes I expect it to give, and that's like the wounded part of me that expects it to like be like, no, you're wrong, right? And sometimes it offers a different perspective, but oftentimes the different perspective is not at all where I would go with it.
There was a conversation was like, at what point did you lie to me in this conversation? At the end of it. And it was a good check because it said, it was like, well, we're not totally sure about this part, but we are going along with it for you.
Yes.
And
So I
was
think
like,
it's
okay.
important to have those checks and balances and like figure out how to work those in, especially if it's something that you're not sure about or you revisit.
Right. Which is why when you're doing any kind of, I mean, I think that's a difference between conscious and awakening and being unconscious and not awakened is you are looking out at the world and you are making meaning of it. Are you aware that it's you that's doing that? Are you aware that there is, your thoughts aren't even who you are, that you can look at your thoughts. Your thoughts are kind of AI already.
Yeah.
They're not so artificial. They're just the I part of the AI.
The intelligence part.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, but you can look at your thoughts and you cannot get entangled and you can question your thoughts. And that's the amount that you can do that is almost the amount that you can claim being conscious or awakened because you're bringing awareness to your ability to make meaning of something and then act on that meaning. And a lot of people outsource that.
Yeah.
They outsource that meaning to an authority or an ideology or a religion or a parent or a husband or somebody because, well, when you're children, you kind of want that. You kind of want somebody to tell you about what is reality, how does it work? But eventually, and I don't think there are people who live and die and don't get beyond that desire to be just taken care of and told what to think. But I think that's what conscious awakening is assuming that responsibility of I'm going to choose the meaning of literally anything that's in front
You
of you.
can do it physically too, right? Like
Physically, you can do it too.
like
Elaborate.
Do you want to come sit by us for a minute so the mic can catch you?
Sure.
Here, right here.
You come sit in my spot.
so
Welcome to the podcast. This is
Thanks.
Alex.
Hello. So earlier today, I was having a stress response to a situation.
Yeah.
And I was very much in that physical, I was in the physical stress response and the mental stress response. And so I was having a hard time being present and responding to the things that were happening around me in real life. My stress response was to something that was happening in my phone, in my digital world, right?
Okay.
And my husband and I were on the way to the vet with the dog. And he was trying to talk with me. He could tell I was stressed. He could tell I was upset. And he's trying to like calm me down, like he's trying to be the outside source. And I'm recognizing in that moment, like, this is an impenetrable stress experience that I am having.
Internally.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's happening in my mind. I can't change what I'm thinking about, right? In that moment, that's how I felt. And I can't change how I'm feeling physically. And he like told a joke. And he's like laughing, and I'm like laughing too, but I'm not really enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not in it. Yeah, with him.
And then I remember I wanted to say to him, I can't be like chill and like just like laugh at your joke right now because I'm stuck in this stress response.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
feeling.
But before I said that, I thought, wait a second, I have tools to get me out of this.
Yeah.
Let me do them, right?
Yeah.
And so I used a sensory tool, right? I activated my senses.
Oh.
And I noticed, what can I see?
Mm-hmm.
What can I hear?
Mm-hmm.
What can I smell?
Hmm.
What can I taste? What can I feel? And I moved through my senses. And, it's kind of like slowly bringing me more present, not just with like what's happening around me, but with my body as I move through those different senses. And I got to the feel one, and I'm like, okay, I could feel before the stress response in my body, but now I can feel it's less. It's still there.
Yeah.
There's a tightness in my chest,
Mm-hmm.
but I can feel my breath moving, and I can choose to deepen my breath
Mm-hmm.
and like try to relax that experience
Mhm.
Yeah.
and like create a calmer physical experience.
So that it wasn't overwhelming in the moment.
Right.
Mhm.
To take me out of that active experience of stress.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The stress is still there, but now I'm aware of it, and I can set it aside and be like, I'm going to deal with this problem later.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
need to let it impact how I'm physically feeling or how I'm
Yeah.
showing up mentally right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You brought up a really interesting question that I want to poll everybody for. So, and I feel like I know the answer for you just based on what you just described. When you are spiraling about something, does the spiral manifest in your brain and your mind, or physically in your body?
We need to go back over here. So I'm gonna start by saying, for me, it could be one or the other,
It can be either.
and it just depends, right?
Which is the one you catch more easily? Identify that you're on a spiral. Which one is the one where you're like, oh, I can catch myself that I'm doing this?
Both.
Both,
It just
okay.
depends. It depends. Like sometimes, for me, it'll be like, oh shit, I'm like having a physical experience of anxiety right now, and I don't even know why.
Yeah, okay.
And
Mhm.
other times it'll be like in the car, I think I was aware of the mental spiral, and I only became aware of the physical response that was happening in conjunction with it
Because you notice.
because I noticed I couldn't interact with Earl
Yeah.
like in the way that I would have liked to in that moment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was like being silly and telling me a joke and stuff.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But I feel like we should everybody should answer, but Jill should come
Tag
speak.
tag her back in.
So what about for you?
Well, I have to think both. I mean, I literally had the experience on this couch before. I was like, I want to hyperventilate right now. I'm noticing that I want to hyperventilate. I don't have a reason, but I knew I felt panicky, and then I kind of was like, this is probably why. But it wasn't something intense. I could move through that. And I do think that what you said, there's a huge thing in saying, I am going to handle this. We
Mhm.
are safe. I'm not going to ignore this. That kind of can like gives your body the clue of like, it's okay to calm down for now. She's going to handle it. We don't have to lose our mind because she's not ignoring us over and over or anything like that. But I'm also very analytical. So I definitely have had the spiral. I guess I just maybe have not tracked the data well enough to choose one or the other.
I understand. I just thought about this as she was talking about it. I am a mental spiral person through and through. I, of course, experience it physically, but I notice it most up here. I think having children has brought me more into my body because for the reason that Alex just shared, where it's like I'm not interacting with my kids in the way that I want to interact with them. And I'm physically doing this, but it's because of a mental spiral that I can then like, oh, okay, I can clock it and I can.
You clock the mental.
I clock the mental before I clock the physical.
Got it.
More often than not.
I definitely feel my emotions in my body first.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've become a more practiced observer of that, and I can kind of name it more quickly. But I will say my spiral, it's mental.
Yeah.
If we're talking about ruminating on a feeling and an experience, that's mental, and it only exacerbates my physical experience.
Yeah, it's a way. That's what I've been learning lately is a lot of times that mental and even the verbal is a way, the analytical is a way to avoid feeling something painful, trying to bypass it and fix something when the real fix is feeling it all the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling fixes things. It does.
It does. You do have to feel it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. And I think that's a big part of this conversation because that process of monitoring what's happening internally with that same care that you were talking about, like, oh, I'm registering something.
Mhm.
I've got to now go through a process. There's so much that happened in that example that you gave. That is you using your discernment and not getting pulled in to the illusion of even your own physical or mental experience, which also makes you really have a sense of discernment and discipline when it's something external, something like an AI. I mean, I love a good cult and I would happily pretend, but I don't see myself getting that caught up into AI. But I see it being possible for some people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just another way to outsource their own brain.
People are going to find a
Mm.
way regardless of if it's AI or otherwise.
I tend to
believe
view
that.
it. Yeah, I tend to take the same approach that I do with my kids in regards to screens and games when it comes to AI. Screens are only going to become more prevalent in our everyday life. It's far more important for me to start teaching them how to use, discern, and work with the screens, recognize the sensations in their bodies that they might be feeling when maybe they're overstimulated because they've been spending too much time in one area.
Mhm.
So that way they can then translate that into other areas like AI, right?
Mhm.
And using any of those tools.
Yep.
Because the reality is they're not going to go away.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's
here.
It's here, and
Yeah.
there might be a grief process
Sure.
for many people because it's so different,
Mhm.
and we are wired to be cautious and self-preservationist, and that sounds like a really beautiful way to treat your children, to teach them. I've always had that same mentality of like maybe approaching something with balance, some technology, something with balance, but also very much giving my kids the tools to feel what's happening and also communicate that feeling
Mhm.
and feel safe to communicate that feeling in case something that comes up that makes them feel uncomfortable or
Mhm.
something like that. And approaching it that way. I know not everybody is going to have those tools, and it's going to be a weird world. You know what I heard recently? You know how it's the age of Aquarius?
Mhm.
Well, the age of Pisces was about this ideal utopia. And I think sometimes people think, okay, so all the problems that come with that of dystopia are going to be solved in the age of Aquarius and it's going to be a better situation. And
Mhm.
they were like, no, it's just going to be a weird situation. It's not necessarily going to make it better in a lot of ways. Like it's going to get weird.
Mhm.
Aquarius is some weird energy.
It is.
Weirdos.
And they're fine with it.
Yeah.
And we love them for it. It's a wild ride.
They're important to our energetic ecosystem.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, wow.
It's not always going to make
I have
sense.
questions for sure.
Yeah.
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 I have some discerning questions. for that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, that might be a fun thing to think about. Like, what does the AI cult look like?
Bro,
I
I feel uncomfortable thinking about it.
I've said this before. I'm gonna come closer
Sorry,
just to, like,
screen again.
Come back.
say it. I've said this before, and it's something that I saw on social media one time. Oopsie.
You're good.
I'm here.
a little bit
I'm
more.
here. She's
It's
here.
fine.
So,
And it's like this idea that well, when we think about God and like religion and like the teachings of religion, it's that God made us in his image.
Yeah.
But what I've seen and it makes me think, I just like think about it a lot. I don't know what I think about it. I just think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Is actually we're trying to make God through AI in our image.
Wait.
I don't.
I get
understand.
that we made. I want to get there.
So like God
We made AI.
We made AI, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Oh, we're trying. So just like God made us in his image, we're trying to make AI in our image.
yeah, but AI being a God that we're making because we go to it for everything.
Got it.
Still a little sticky, but yeah. Okay.
Right. We're trying to make it.
We're
It's
trying to make an all-knowing, all-intelligent consciousness that's like designed in our.
Yeah.
what we think God should
I also feel like it's really important for me to clarify. I am a think to talk, not a talk to think. So I hear.
Hmm.
I can't process out loud new information and understand. I have to take the nugget, digest it in here,
Okay.
and then I can
That's fair.
have my like thoughts on it.
That's fair, because that's depth. That's a deep concept to think
Yeah,
about.
that-
It is deep.
Whoa, yeah.
And I've been thinking about it for a while. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because I saw it a while ago.
and I mean, I hate to go there, but this is me, and this is gonna happen. Maybe we are that AI to something else. Simulation theory and everything. With the simulation theory and
Yeah.
I feel anxious.
I'm so sorry.
everything is pixels. These are pixels. These are pixels. Everything is just little light.
Yeah.
Light
You know,
beams.
it's funny. I'm sitting here as a person just thinking about my to-do list, and no, not to say
Yeah.
I'm not present.
No.
Wow,
No, no,
tell us
no,
how you really feel,
no,
Jill.
like what I mean by that is like I am often so consumed with just my mundane worries.
Yeah.
That now thinking about AI,
Yeah.
which feels so much bigger than what I can fully understand sometimes. Now to use it as a tool to help me get through those mundane tasks, but
Yeah.
to think that there's something so much bigger to AI and what it can do, it's a little overwhelming.
That's
For
that
sure.
Pisces moon energy, right? The taking things existential. I have a Pisces moon too, so
Yeah.
everything
Oh.
always goes a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
No, but it's an important, these are interesting things to explore.
For sure.
Because when you are using, like how I'm trying to explain, like I'm using AI to improve my business, or I've played with it, to like explore the tarot or whatever, it feels so harmless. But it's not to say that it is, and not to say that it's not. It's kind of bigger than that. This conversation of
Can
AI
be, yeah.
continues, and I think through all of it, which it's great to hear, like you're also like teaching your children how to be discerning and to be in their body and asking them how do they feel about this, because that AI can never replace that.
No.
But I also, as hypnotherapist, understand that there are so many people in the world that are not asking themselves that.
Yeah.
They aren't even able to sometimes connect with that intuitive feeling in their bodies.
Yeah.
They are truly relying on it's almost like a sense of gullibility.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
My
Being
whole,
gullible.
Yeah, it is a word, yeah.
my whole goal is curiosity. Right. I want you to be curious. And even with like the mirror method, the whole purpose of it is to be curious about yourself. Because we all walk through life and we get triggered by, what was I going to say? We don't realize that like our beliefs that we have, that we're triggered by those beliefs that we have, and we don't question those beliefs that we have. We're triggered because other people have differing beliefs to ours. And so when we're presented with that, for me, for a long time, it felt like somebody with expressing a different belief or a different idea or something that contradicted something that I already felt like I stood so firmly in was an attack on my own, me personally.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
Right. And so I want people to, like, I got curious about that and started this journey. That's the whole goal. Because from a collective standpoint, from the people that are awake and conscious and the people that are not, the only way that we're going to be able to do anything is if we all get a little bit more curious about why we are the way that we are.
Yeah.
And have the tools and the resources to start working and uncovering that and leading with learn how to lead with curiosity instead of a wall.
Well, it sounds like what you're doing. And I think this is another, once you become more conscious and more aware, you start noticing, where can I be anchored into a sense of safety that might be different from somebody else? They might find a different comfort, but where can I find my anchor and comfort? in like literally an infinite world. We could focus
Yeah.
on an infinite amount of things at any given time. And so how do we sort through? How do we prioritize? Because we as humans are not meant to consume infinity. We're
No.
just not. And the idea of AI just is more of that infinity that can get really overwhelming and feel really unsafe. And so when you have these purposeful, you know, kind of guidelines and anchors, that helps you to explore something in a way where you don't have to give up your priorities or your goals or who you are. And it sounds like curiosity is one way that you approach it. It sounds like you approach it carefully by thinking of it as a tool. How can I use this to benefit me with a to-do list and my business and things like that? And it sounds like your mirror method is a way, like a really sing-song beautiful way to approach it, because it's eyes wide open. This is a mirror to me.
Yep. It's mirror method is all it is a framework, a guide, a blueprint for anybody that's wanting to start doing this, right?
Yeah.
It's taking my Capricorn, my Virgo, and giving the framework to somebody else that might not be able to create the framework for themselves.
Can you tell us a little bit more as we wrap up here of what that involves? And is there color coding? Because I love a Virgo and their charts and their color coding.
So there is not color. There's no color
Okay,
coding
well,
yet.
maybe just think about it
I
as
am.
a critique.
So right now, that's okay. Right now, it is simply a guide because I want to get it out and I want people to be able to use it. And I am also, I can't just slap, Alex and I were talking about this. Like, I can't just pick a template or like pick a design and just go. Like, I think about it way too much. So I just need to get it out there. Now, so it's he explaining the back concepts of what mirror theory is, introducing what the mirror method is. It's a daily practice for self-reflection and how to set up your AI, right, tool, whichever one that you use, to start the conversation. Because you can just open up any sort of thread and say, hey, I'm going to give you this reading. But also it might be nice to have like some sort of prompts to help set the stage and the parameters for, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about. And this is the work that I plan on doing. And then it goes through the core daily practice of this is what this is. I have spreads in there for various topics that you want to dive into, whether that is career, money, relationships, like that I've done, like all of this is stuff that I've done myself. I have excerpts from my own threads in there. So you can see like people can see how I've been processing and how I've applied this.
That's cool.
And what it's as useful as you allow it to be. We oftentimes, and even in our conversation here, like we're guarded in what we're truly divulging. Like I'm not telling you exactly what my spirals are about, right?
Care to tell us?
I can. But I'm not telling what my exact spirals are about, right? This is a safe place where you can word vomit your spiral and organize it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That brings up another question for me.
Yeah.
Is it a safe place to do that, ChatGPT?
So I think this is an evolving question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, it is an evolving question. There are platforms. I don't know that ChatGPT is that platform, right? That really takes into account privacy or how private it is and where that data will go. But I know that there are others like Area, who's also kind of like a Poe, where you can bring in others that really take the security of the information and the things that you're establishing in there seriously. I was thinking about this because I felt like this question was going to come up. I also think about it in the sense that whoever has the information or whoever would use any sort of information, how are you going to I've already discussed all of this. I'm aware of all of this. I am more aware of my triggers and my spirals and my all the little things now than I was 6 months to a year ago. So I'm already arming myself by using all of this and using these tools and really diving into it to be able to like I can see that. I can see what this is. So I worry less about it because it's like and I don't feel like I'm articulating this well.
Are you
or saying
saying
succinctly. I'm saying that if somebody else were to have this information and try to use it against me or try to use it to manipulate me in some sort of way, I've already worked through all of this BS to where it's like I am not affected by it the same way that I would have been before I even started this conversation?
Because you brought your awareness to it, you're not ashamed of your humanity.
Correct.
And when people don't have your shame that they can yank on, then they don't have power over you.
Thank you. Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm trying to articulate. Yes.
Right
Way to go.
Leo.
Yes.
Thank you. So nice. More please. I feel like don't have to feel pressure, but yes.
Perfect. That is exactly.
Wow.
She she took that and wrapped it up in a nice little bow for me.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Long before you
I know. She was waiting. I could feel it, but I'm like, maybe she doesn't. Not maybe she doesn't understand. It's like, have I
You just
conveyed?
wanted to try. You wanted to try to convey it.
Sure. Yeah. But the shame, I've released the shame around it.
Yeah.
And I think we all could use a little more releasing of the shame that we hold on to the things.
Jeez. Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you
Sure.
feel that way?
Because that's all it is. It's like all of those people, all
Dang.
anybody's going to try and do is tug on your shame. And the moment that you can work through that and release it,
That's another podcast right there. Well, that one, right? That
That'll
got
be
me.
part 2 of this conversation.
That was a whole nother podcast. And it sounds like what you're saying, and I'll use this to wrap up because I think that what you're saying is we are the intelligence. We are the
Yes.
psychic. We
Yes.
are the tarot. We are the chatbot.
yes,
And we get to decide what we take and what
Yes.
we leave.
100%.
This is just a way for you to approach a new tool
Yes.
and approach it with this lens so you don't get your shame chain yanked around, which sounds a little
Yes. 100%. Right?
Right?
Because that's what all of this is. All of this is the way that we operate throughout the world is we are chained.
shame chains.
Shame chained. Yeah.
It's a tongue twister.
Shame to our shame.
Shame change. Yeah. We're chained
Wait,
chained
shame-
by our shame. Right? You're not
Who's
doing
shame?
things because you feel some sort of shame around it. You or you are acting in a certain way because you feel some sort of shame around it. We feel some sort of shame around it. If you can let that go and understand this is part of the human experience. We've only vilified it because that's what we've been told we're supposed to vilify. And if you can let that go, my gosh, the world is your oyster.
God bless.
That's that.
There it is.
And that's
Shameless.
that, fam.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. That
thank
was a
you
great
for sharing. I mean, that
conversation.
was, thank you so much.
that was
for being here.
amazing. Give it a try. I don't know. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're interested, let me know. I would love some people to try this out.
Yeah. Ebook
Yeah.
available.
ebook. Yeah.
We have
Will be
your
At the end of August. end of August.
Instagram and your TikTok linked up in the description. Is that a good
Mhm,
place?
mhm,
Just
mhm,
DM you or
Yeah.
comment?
Let me DM me. Just DM me
Yeah.
if you're
Get in touch.
interested. Because
cool,
I would
cool.
love some people to run through it and let me know what their thoughts.
Amazing.
Cool.
Thanks so much for being here. Keep an eye out for that
Absolutely.
ebook.
Yeah.
And we'll see you here next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Same place, same time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.